Want great pay and lots of perks? Get a $1,500 sign-on bonus when you join the Verizon retail team in the San Francisco Bay Area now. Help connect customers with the perfect products every time. Apply at Verizon.com/retail-jobs. Verizon is an equal opportunity employer.
Maybe you could talk to Doc. He could give you some tips on being a real man.
And he goes, what is that supposed to mean? And I'm like, yeah, what is that supposed to mean?
That means fucking contest. Only way to solve this.
Absolutely fucking contest. I just so wanted a flash cut to, oh, okay. That's why they say it's a man in a boat. He's at the front of the boat. I was just like, where the fuck? What does that even mean? It's a bad metaphor. All right, now clean this mango and I'll let you go.
God awful movie.
Welcome back to the GAMcast, where each week we sample another selection from Christian cinema because Rod Rosenstein hasn't opined on our job performance yet. I'm your host, Noah Lugeons, and sitting to my immediate left is my good friend, Heath Enwright. Heath, welcome back.
Thanks, Noah. You know what I love? Your chicken parm Hot Pockets. I don't say it enough. I appreciate those. And that's going to pay off in about 90 minutes.
Yeah,
so
about 90 minutes. It'll all make sense. Go back to the intro. It's called a tease. It's not a call forward. It's a tease. And sitting 81 miles to my right is my bad friend, Eli Bosnick. Eli, how are you this fine afternoon, sir?
I'm pretty fantastic.
I wonder why. So clue everybody in on why Eli is doing so fantastic, if you would. Heath, what are we going to be breaking down today?
We watched Heaven Bound. It's the story of a husband and wife who become burglars and a wealthy Christian man who they target for a heist. And all three of these people learn a valuable lesson about the meaning of life from a charming food enthusiast ninja. It's a very exciting movie.
I think he's going to have a lot of positive shit to say here. Eli, how bad was this movie?
Well, if you love wacky caper comedies, but you miss the serious commentary on the ravages of Alzheimer's, and you think animal abuse is funny, you will love this movie. It's Tower of Babel heist.
Well, okay. Now, I feel like we need to address this issue up front. This is a Christian comedy that is, from time to time, funny.
It is.
I mean, like here and there, their jokes actually land, and that's kind of a weird experience where, like, I know where the joke was because I laughed.
Very confusing.
I didn't know how to handle that shit. I mean, now I should put that in context, like compared to what we watch, right? This is good for like a made-for-TV movie comedy, right? This is not good for like a in the theaters, you just paid to watch this movie comedy. But compared to what we watched, this was downright fucking hilarious. So a couple little nuggets of trivia that Eli was able to dig up about this movie before we started. Apparently, this film was shot in 18 days.
Like all great movies.
It seems like they took a couple off in there somewhere. Like, really, you used all 18 of those days? Come on. Also, this is the cinematic debut of Jamie Costa, the Vine star, guys.
The Vine star, who is an impressionist on Vine and does no impressions in this movie.
It does.
I kept waiting for him to be like, oh, it's me, Robert De Niro, but he's just like, here's your pizza. All right.
Yeah, so
I was in a movie.
That's pretty much his whole bit. Also, of course, and this movie stars or co-stars or comic reliefs via one Tori Martin, who regular listeners will know as the radio DJ from The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. Mm-hmm. Whose physical appearance we spent, I believe, 22 minutes on when we did that one.
Yeah, the Ghost of Christmas Present. The human Christmas tree.
Yeah, he's in this movie. And quite frankly, I hope to see more of his filmography. I noticed that he has an announced project called Christian Movie, and the description is a wacky comedy about a high school football team trying to win their first championship before the rapture.
Oh.
So
stealing our ideas, man. Stealing our ideas.
Yeah, right? Motherfuckers. Now, is there anything you guys want to nominate this one for being the best at being the worst at?
Yeah, definitely. Best, worst, well, really just best mini episode of God Awful Movies within the movie. It's amazing. At one point, they watch a Kirk Cameron movie that we reviewed, and they just go over the top sarcastically praising this guy. Like, oh my God, Kirk Cameron is such a fucking great Christian. I want his values inside of it. It's the best.
I'm going to go with best, worst pizza delivery service. I don't want to spoil it, but the pizza delivery service in this movie is worth a film all on its own. All on its own.
Yeah, no Robert De Niro impressions or anything. It's terrible. All right, well, I guess it's only so long before Eli's physical appearance notes on Tori Martin crush the table they're sitting on, so we're going to keep the break brief, and when we come back, we'll survey all the wacky antics that are Heaven Bound. Does this ever happen to you? Well, it did now, because I was talking about listening to an audio format that relies on a visual cue for the listener to know what the fuck they're talking about, so it has happened to you. So why not try God Awful Movies Live? Do you love God Awful Movies? Do you at least love spending time with it? Well then, boy, do we have a deal for you. The God Awful Movies crew is packing their bags this summer for live shows in New York City, Seattle, Salt Lake City, and more. And you can be there to see all the action live. How much would you pay? $1 million? $2 million? Almost certainly not. But there's more. You'll hear the same show you know and love, but you'll also get sight gags, lighting, wardrobing, and that weird experience of watching Heath's voice come out of the wrong-looking head. But don't answer yet, because I didn't ask a question. You'll also get gesticulations, facial expressions, and the ability to hear what Eli says before Noah gets to edit it. You can even join the crew for a behind-the-scenes viewing of the film the night before for the low, low price of a more expensive ticket. But don't wait. Seats are limited and they will sell out quickly. So be sure to check the show notes for this episode or check our Facebook page or Twitter feed for more details and see God Awful Movies live in a city that'll be near you by the time you get close to the venue. God Awful Movies Live. It's better than drugs.
I feel like being honest with him is just going to be the best.
Hey,
policy.
guys. What's up?
Hey, Heath.
Hey.
How you doing?
How's it going? You guys ready to record?
Yeah, almost. Heath, there's something we need to tell you.
I don't want a bath. You always do this.
No, it's not that this time. It's about the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, what about it?
Well, this week's movie has you in it.
What do you mean has me in it?
Yeah. There's a character named Moochie, and I'm pretty sure it's just coincidence. But
he's got red hair.
He unironically nunchucks.
He spends most of the movie eating or thinking about eating.
Come on, guys. I don't think that like
he went to high school with an armed robber.
All right, call Andrew.
We already did.
You can't just fucking do this. Like a man's identity is his own thing. You can't steal.
I know, buddy.
It's not.
I know.
You stole my Chucks.
There's a dog in this movie that's Eli, too.
There's a dog in this movie.
And we're back for the breakdown, and we're going to start this movie off with a horrifyingly prosaic vision of the good life.
Whoa. Also, hey, production logos, those are for pussies. This movie was made by no one. Here we go.
Went from 26 production logos last week to nothing. Just wake up with the fucking mattress commercial people here.
And we see in this opening credits, this is supposed to be them like in their happy life. And so we see them like getting ready for breakfast and getting out of bed and all this kind of stuff. And it is sickening. I'm saying if at the end of this sequence, this couple had gotten law-abiding citizen, I'd be okay with it. I'd be okay with it. That's what I'm...
Is morning person a real thing? I fucking hate them so much.
I'm a morning person.
God.
I mean, you don't notice that because I fall asleep at 5:30 a.m. and wake up at 11.
Does that count
so.
then?
But no, but I do my best stuff in the morning. I'm just never awake for it. I am.
So you don't do your best stuff.
I am a morning person though. Like if I happen,
real cheery and perky at when you wake up is what you're telling us.
Well, no, if I woke up in the morning, you would see the cheer. That's the thing is I sleep through my only cheery, perky moment, and that's why I'm kind of an asshole all the time.
Heath, tomorrow, wake Noah up at like 6
I'm gonna jump on your bed and see what happens. See how cheery you are at 9.
I hear he'll be full of mirth.
I love that 9 is the earliest Heath's willing to commit to that. So yeah, basically we made a painfully white family. Like if you stare directly into this family, you will burn your corneas white. But I will say, like, the music was pretty good.
Yep. And it was shot like a movie. Again, after Don't Touch If You Ain't Prayed, the fact that the camera was able to pan and they were able to put words on the screen without having someone hide behind a counter and lift a cardboard sign, I was like, miracle of miracles.
Yeah, right. Holy shit. And what's funny is, like, one of the first notes I wrote is on the star of this movie, I'm going to go ahead and tell you his name now, Ted. We learned that at about minute 106. But Ted, I wrote, like, man, this guy shouldn't have his looks documented for posterity. And then I saw the other people in this movie and I'm like, yeah, no, Ted's a pretty good looking guy.
And there is one moment in this opening scene where we cut to a family photo, and it is of the couple, the Ted and the wife, whose name I don't remember, and their son, who is a lawyer, who we will meet at the very, very end of this movie, and Mochi, who is her younger brother. But it basically looks like a family photo and then one child who was like a curse. Like they were walking by an all-you-can-eat buffet and they bumped into a gypsy and she was just like, ooh, prada. And they were like, what's the worst that could happen? Mochi.
So yeah, so that's the morning scene. And then we have to get this scene like where Ted is heading to work and he's at the bagel shop and the big fat kid in front of him doesn't have enough money, so he helps the kid out.
It's the kid from Pequod's Pizza. 100%.
I have in my notes.
It is.
He buys baby Heath a muffin. And he, like a gentleman and a scholar, takes that opportunity to grab that child and harm him. Just like, I bought you a muffin, didn't I? Yeah.
I get to touch you now.
Yeah. Well, can we do away with
me.
tousling the hair of children? Nobody do it. Nobody do it.
Start
Even if
doing
it's
it
your
to
kid,
the
it's
elderly.
It's pretty fucking creepy. Yeah, exactly. But of course, through this whole thing, he's all like Joel Osteen fucking Cialis commercial smiles throughout. And he shows up at work where apparently he works for a company that sells gluten-free organic dog food. I hate this character so much. I already hate him.
Yeah. First of all, don't feed your dog a diet that's for people. Like, just...
Also, gluten-free organic is not for people. That's for hippies. It's a different thing.
Unless you have celiac disease, in which case...
in that case, exactly. But still organic.
You can still handle carbon to hydrogen or not. It's fine.
Exactly.
Your dog doesn't have celiac disease. It's a whole thing. I don't want to talk
there
about it.
isn't. All food has that.
It's fine.
But to be fair, the movie is making fun of that, right? The movie is recognizing that as stupid. It's not like, I mean, we deal with a lot of people who would actually buy that. So, like, kudos to this movie for recognizing that that's, a goofy thing. Also, by the way, I want to point out that not only does this guy work for the organic gluten-free dog food company, but he's in charge of writing annoying jingles for their commercials. This is the perfect movie villain, y'all.
Yeah, and so he also appears to be in charge of carrying the mascot, which I think is the head of a cult. Now, I don't want to spoil anything here, but throughout the rest of the movie, people take the health and well-being of this dog way, way more seriously than they should. Even if he's like the most popular dog food mascot, you get a feeling that in this particular town, they have a like cult of the rising sun. Like Mr. Mitski was going to give out Kool-Aid at some point should the events of this movie not have taken place.
Yeah, and Mr. Mitski, by the way, is the name of the dog.
Yeah,
yeah, and I point that out because they refer to Mr. Mitski several times at the beginning of the movie as though that was like his boss, but no, that's the dog. So the chauffeur is sick that normally drives the dog around, so he has to take the dog to the opening of the puppy theme park, and he doesn't want to do this because the dog is a spoiled brat.
The dog doesn't demonstrate that, though. The dog just gets hurt several times. Like, he's smashing it into fans and whamming it into elevators and slapping it into doors. And, like, look, I know I'm a little oversensitive. I'm a dog owner, blah, blah, blah. But like 6, oh no, I hurt the dog jokes in a row. I was like, all right, someone here really thinks hurting dogs is funny. Like, there's always that, like, oh no, woofles. And then it's like, well, okay, now you're just getting pleasure out of a dog's pain.
I feel like you were being sensitive, though, because they made fun of the dog for ordering drinks at 64 degrees Fahrenheit exactly, and that was something you find completely normal.
He's a gluten-free dog with a special diet and a temperature preference. I'm just saying, hurting him isn't funny.
Do you carry a thermometer? How do you test them at that?
I watch and make sure that they push the button on the machine, and if they don't push it, I ask for a remake. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. So anyway,
I'm sorry. Are you bad at your job making a beverage?
You're just endearing yourself to all of our barista listeners right now. Absolutely. So so we accidentally
to their band on SoundCloud. You guys are gonna make it.
No, you are though. You are. So he accidentally fucking closes the dog in the elevator and drops him off at the vivisection clinic or whatever. But eventually he ends up in the parking lot, and he's got the dog, and he's got the dog's food, and he's got the dog's water and all of this stuff in his arms. And there's a lady that needs help putting trees in her car.
Before we get to this, can we talk about the guy in the elevator?
Oh my God. How did I miss that? Yes, there's a guy in the elevator that wants to fuck the dog.
And
absolutely wants to fuck the dog.
Definitely wants to fuck. He eats dog food. That's how he introduces himself as a character. He's like, yeah, it's gluten-free, organic. So, clearly eats dog food. I mean, bacon strips are delicious. Like pepperoni. I don't know if you guys have ever had that. It's really good, but still. Like the wet food in the can, that's weird.
No, that is pretty weird. We can agree on the last half of that sentence.
No, the treats, but the bacon he treat, but
yeah. I mean, and they're going for wacky comedy here, obviously, but that's a bizarre place to go for wacky comedy. The guy's like, oh, I love that dog and his dog food. I mean, I don't have a dog. I eat it myself. Tee-hee. Can I put my finger in it somewhere?
Yeah, there are several moments throughout this movie where they're very clearly going for wacky comedy, but in a genre that's entirely inappropriate. Like he pulls up, is that Ralphie the rapist? I'm always a raping. It's like, I know you're going for comedy, but the subject matter is weird.
Well, I mean, yeah, the elevator guy literally, he grabs a lock of the dog's hair and smells it. Like, he's clearly going to go home, eat dog food, and fuck a hair doll shaped like a dog. That's this entire character's thing.
No, he's finally got the pubes for his doll. Yeah, apparently.
No, I wouldn't use that for the pube. That'd be like a weird pic. Shit. I mean, no, I like pay attention to the details. Fine.
So we meet this bizarre human in the elevator that wants to fuck the dog, and he gets out of the elevator, and this is where he shows up in the parking lot, and there's a lady trying to put a tree in her car who needs help.
And I want to say, if you are in charge of a dog and the elderly need help, dogs come first. Dogs come first. Dogs might live another 12, 13 years. Never going to happen with the elderly, especially if they're stupid enough to try and load a fucking tree in their car. I was yelling at my TV this entire time, just like, leave her. This is evolution. Let natural things take your car. She'll slam her hand in the door. She'll starve to death. It's fine.
She's already bred. It's too late for natural selection to have an effect here. But he goes to help the old lady. Oh, Jesus. That's no longer natural selection, Eli. That's
selection.
Breeding of humans.
I've been emailing with Ray Comfort, and I'm pretty sure we're on the same page.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to be the lone eugenics holdout on this show soon.
Get on board.
You're going to be the lone eugenics holdout in atheism pretty soon.
I feel like I'm the lone person trying to review this movie at the moment. So he
say what you will about the tenets of National Socialism.
God, that's a quote from a movie. If you're not familiar, it's from The Big Lebowski. So he goes to help this old lady, and while he does, he puts the dog on top of the car, and then forgets that he's up there when he pulls away. You know, like you've done with a drink before, but not a dog, because you're not a callous and evil human being that probably deserves everything he gets in this movie and then some.
Right.
So
the dog dies.
Yeah, in case you don't see where we're going, he kills the dog. Like right away, like fucking the guys who made Independence Day understood you could kill towns full of humans. You can't kill a fucking dog. Right away, this movie kills the dog.
Yeah. Learn from
Opening
Will
scene.
Smith's mistakes.
Exactly.
And Mitt Romney's.
Yeah, right.
And Governor Huckabee's son's mistakes.
I would have.
And
He
Josh
killed a
Jesus
Duggar.
Christ.
Google that. Governor Huckabee's
So-
son killed a dog at camp, and he got fired for it because he's a fucking psycho. And he tried to cover it up, and everyone remembers. And now you know that.
You already knew that. All right, so we cut to 6 months later. Our hero is waking up. Ted's waking up. He's having a nightmare about that time he murdered that dog 6 months ago. And their mornings are no longer musical montages of happiness and joy. There's no blowing kisses like there was in the beginning of this movie. Now they're this movie's weird vision of poor.
Yep. And like many Christian movies, their version of poor is living in a giant mansion with a boat, jet skis, and 2 cars, which they have not yet been able to sell, but their power has been shut off.
What?
Not even yet, just the water at this
Yeah,
point.
right. Mhm.
And they've been paying for cable TV. He watches TV a
He
second
does,
later,
yes.
but they can't pay for the water.
You can't get online for your TV. But yeah, that's how poverty works in this universe. They still have this gigantic fucking house, but they lack water.
Like, Train Spotting wasn't about like eBay auctions going too slow to pay for your heroin addiction. So stupid.
Fine. Jesus. No one has sniped this, so I guess I'll do ass to ass. Go, come on. Room full of Andrew's classmates. Just, yeah, fine. And maybe Andrew. Like, not now, but like Covington and Burling,
Yeah.
Andrew. Like,
Yeah, you never know. All right, so he turns on his TV because they've got no water, but they've got cable. And wouldn't you know it, today they're having the Mr. Mitski telethon about that dog that got killed 6 months ago.
Yep. And it's benefiting dogs who have a rough life.
Nice.
Rough.
Nice.
Let's pause and appreciate this play on words. I really hope they keep going with the dog puns in this movie.
They
Very
don't.
exciting.
They don't.
They don't know. And there's this weird moment of humor where he says, I know that Mr. Mitski is looking down on us from heaven. And she goes, well, no, Mr. Mitski was a well-known atheist. So
Yep.
He's a
his
Bertrand Russell Terrier.
Mr. Mitski just like debating and winning against William Lane Craig. Now,
Yeah,
this is
no,
what
I could see
think
that.
Yeah, barking is actually better than what William
and
Lane
the
Craig
Kalam
says.
cosmological argument, yes.
Fair. It's true.
Yeah, but I was thinking like we had already established that this was Eli but a dog. So yeah, he was a well-known atheist and he died young. So they really kind of just stole his personality for this movie too.
Please don't make a video.
But I will say, I will say though, that atheist line that was the first time the movie made me laugh, and it wasn't the last. There was one other. So way to go, comedy. So okay, so now we check in on the wife this 6 months later, and she's sad. She's crying about the dog thing, apparently.
Yeah.
Also, this is where he gets the phone call from his son, and it's like, yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble paying to keep you in law school. I'm like, oh, that's poverty for you. You can barely pay for the 7th year of your son's law school.
Son, I don't know that we're going to be able to help you pay for your last year of college degree. This is just like The Wire. This is like basically season 8 of The Wire, what we're living through right now. And this movie spends so much time on this. Like, I get the like, wah, wah, they're unhappy. And if it had been this one scene, I'd be like, all right, yeah, okay, moving the plot forward. But we will spend a solid 25 minutes on just miserable people doing comedy weeping, but like comedy weeping is based on timing. And when someone cries for more than a minute, you're just like,
That's uncomfortable.
okay, done now. And scene. Nope.
Nope.
And scene. Nope. Scene.
So she heads off to work, and then he cries too because, comedy crying comes in twos. Comedy comes in twos. That's what they say, right?
We should try that. Just like 30 minutes into every show, we just all cry for a minute. See how it goes. We'll try.
That's how I feel about the Skeptocrat.
I
don't want to do this show anymore.
Right. It's gotten so easy, but so hard. So okay. So now we head to the house of Drake. This is where we're going to meet Doc, and we're going to meet him via a door-to-door evangelist on a bicycle with a "Got Jesus" T-shirt on.
Right. And he also lives in a mansion, and I wrote in my notes at this point, are we going to learn that this person is also poor with their giant mansion at the end of a field of trees? But no. It's the Vine Star / Jesus evangelizer.
Oh, is that who?
This is the Vine Star.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I thought he was the pizza delivery guy. Okay. Wow, this guy who does even less in the movie. Holy shit. Okay. So he shows up, and apparently he's supposed to be like a super evangelist. We get the speed cuts of him pulling his Bible out of his fanny pack and everything. And he shows up to convert this old man. And the way he does that is he says, if you were to die today, do you know where you would spend eternity? And now my response usually is, of the two of us, I feel like you're worried about the wrong one dying today, bro. You're so close to being inside my house. It would be easy to drag you in here. And then legally speaking, as I understand. Anyway, but the old man, at least for all, like, there's no reason to believe otherwise, just decides to fuck with this guy for the rest of the day.
Yeah, for like hours. He's like, ooh, what a good question. Why don't you come in? And we all have some version of, oh, he's going to murder this kid written in our notes. Because that is the only reason to fake pretend to think about this question, is you're just waiting for them to sit in the chair where you can push a button and they're automatically strapped into it.
Honestly, though, I thought this was a great response to preaching. Just like delay and fuck. Like from now on, when a preacher shows up, the game is how long can I keep it going? And just like bring him in. Like that'll be fun.
Yeah, because I mean, they give the impression that until he answers this question, this guy's not allowed to leave. Yeah. Right. If that's a fucking rule, I'm so happy that we now know that.
That's a rule.
Yeah, no shit.
Like the Zazzle customer support, like how they have a no hang up policy as long as you don't swear at them. That's true, by the way. You can talk to them for as long as you like.
You're endearing yourself to all of our Zazzle employees, too. Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you, that is, you can spend hours on Zazzle. I can and have just been like, so what do you think of the first Star Wars movie? If you don't swear, they can't hang up.
Just start reciting the Quran.
Could you?
I'm going on a picnic, and I'm bringing. I'll ask you about the shoes in a second, but I'm going on a picnic, and I'm bringing a technical support rep who's not allowed to hang up.
So the old guy invites the evangelist in, and they have lemonade, and he just sits there the whole time considering this question of, if I die today, just going, And it plays like this guy's just fucking with him, in which case this is hilarious. But as the movie will have us believe, he really is considering that question.
Well, is he? Because at the end of the conversation, he goes, oh, no, I'm saved. I've always been saved. I'm fine. And he's like, well, then why was I sitting here? And he was like, because fuck you. That's why. Bye. And like, we know that he was kind of messing with the kid, but we never know what the sort of purpose of it was.
Well, and he should have had at least some kind of clue that maybe this guy was Christian, seeing as how his house was all decked out for Christmas.
Yeah. That should have tipped you off. And then the rich guy starts just like picking stuff up, naming the price of it and throwing it up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy Vine guys just catching them. That's like the whole action of this scene. It's really, I feel like they were just like, all right, we're going to let you write one scene. And he was like, all right, I just do all my dives. Like, all right, what the fuck is it? You know, my dives. I keep catching stuff. What's your job, man? I'm a 5-second movie star. Okay. Well, can you do more than 5 seconds?
No.
I don't follow. I don't follow. What?
Not at all.
Dives. I'm going to dive.
What do you do on the 6th second? Because I shit myself the moment you're like, ah! and the point here is the old guy's supposed to be realizing that like material wealth is useless. So he's like, look at this vase. And by the way, these are supposed to be huge numbers, but it is very depressing. He's like, look at this priceless vase, $500. And I'm like, woof. Really? 500, huh? And he's like, yeah, $500. We live in the part of the country where that money is a lot.
Stupid. Should have gone to bloomthat.com. Come with a vase. And caramels, idiot.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of candy in this house, as we learn later.
Hashtag ad. Hashtag ad. I don't know. We have to do that. We got a very scary email.
So we did.
We're not the Fire Festival. There's no festival.
The most threatening email I've ever seen with a hashtag in it. Yes.
That must be nice. Tweet about Gamergate, Heath. Go ahead. Just throw one up there.
Eli doesn't know what that's like. Yeah. So, okay. So now we cut back to the male lead, to the dog killer guy. And he's getting a pizza delivered. Again, this movie's vision of poverty isn't that you can't afford to like have your food delivered. It's that you have to do it with a Ziploc bag full of change.
Yeah. And this is where we get to the incredible pizza delivery service. So we will learn that this is actually standard, but this is called Pretty Good Pizza. And they go, here's your pizza. It's pretty good. And the idea of an honest pizza delivery service is my everything. Just
amazing.
Like, hey, how's it going? I drove here high.
I didn't start as high as I finished.
Here's your pizza. I had a slice. It's meh.
So yeah,
ask me how much this costs our company. No, lower, lower. Imagine you could cut a penny into tiny pieces. That's my hint for you.
It's about 30% of the cost of the food, of the cost of the pizza is the food cost. Yeah, I had shit jobs. I had shit jobs too.
That was specific detail you had at the ready.
Yeah,
and that's why I was a drug dealer.
Well, I didn't say I had multiple jobs. I had more than one. So yeah, so they get their pizza. And
all three of us were not drug dealers. That is not true.
Not at the same time, no.
That is not how you get into podcasting.
We should deal drugs together. Come on. God, how much would people love it if they could get our drugs from us? I mean, you too.
They could
probably
get
not me.
Our drugs from us? I don't think.
Can we Patreon goal a big pack of cocaine? Is that allowed?
Patreon. Wow, that's a great idea, because Patreon's already probably a pyramid scheme, so we could just add drug dealing to it.
So's the Fed.
Oh God, Jesus! Now you'll find out about those hashtags.
Gold fringe on the flags.
So, yeah. So then we cut back to the old guy who is apparently still fucking with the evangelist dude.
Hours later.
Yeah.
Hours later. And this is where he confesses to the young man for the first time that his wife, who's dead, was way more awesome than him because she was a missionary and he was just a stupid doctor without borders. And like, cleft palate, cleft schmallet, she was the one giving out Bronze Age books on murdering witches.
Yeah, right. And this is when the evangelist guy says, wait a minute, you're already a Christian? And he's like, oh, yeah, no, I've been a Christian since I was a kid. And he's like, fuck,
you
man.
literally just walked past a Christmas tree. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right? Give me a fucking break. But yeah. So, but what I took from this scene is that this is a lonely old man that wanted somebody to talk to. Because then the kid goes to leave and he's like, wait, I could go with you. I can help you evangelize. And he's like, no, I don't want you around. And I'm just like, don't be an asshole, man. The guy wants to hang out.
Don't hang out with the elderly. Don't do it. Encourage it.
Encourages them to not die?
Yeah, exactly. They give them big bottles of pills for a reason. No, I will not apologize for this.
They should use their health savings accounts and they'd be fine.
I think you're...
Exactly. They all have pre-existing conditions.
I think you're just jealous of those of us who are going to make it to a ripe old age. I think that's what it is.
Hey, what is it? Like a 95% chance my life insurance company is right? I'm fine. Does anyone else smell toast?
You understand statistics like a human.
I'm picking Eli in Celebrity Death Pool next year. First off the board.
Oh, I want my own page of the Atheist Yearbook. Just me with my hands on my chin.
What are you worth? 70 points this year? I'm totally picking you.
Nice.
Yeah. So now we got to the doctor's office where this doctor works, and apparently the wife, Josie, Ted's wife, is his assistant.
But they're still desperately poor. Like, can't turn their lights on, can't have water, can't eat more than one meal a day. Poor.
Right. Yeah, they're just about eating dog food themselves. But yes, she works as a assistant in a doctor's office. Apparently has done that for years and years. Also, this is where we meet Victoria Jackson. She has a little cameo in here. She's not irrelevant. She's still in direct-to-YouTube releases in 2017, y'all.
Who is that?
She's the star of those CPAC things. She's a really good comedian they get at tea parties.
She was on Saturday Night Live when I was a kid. So, yeah.
She did Weekend Update. She would stand on her head and do fucking
Did she do
poetry.
Weekend Update? I don't remember doing Weekend Update. Well, yeah, she was like
she wasn't
part of it.
She wasn't the anchor.
Dennis Miller was it back then.
Remember when SNL was just 4 high pseudo celebrities and George Carlin, John Belushi.
George Carlin was
not.
He hosted the first one.
He hosted the first one. Yeah. He was all coked out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you know who the musical guest was?
Remember when those guys were on drugs? Are you telling me? Remember when the Saturday Night Live cast was on drugs back in the day?
Keenan is straight edge. I'm just kidding. He probably does a lot of drugs because that's what I would do.
So, and he's a lot like Eli. So Victoria Jackson is here. She's a patient and she has lost her sense of smell. She has
weird
that disease. And she's quite tore up about it because she's a scented candle maker and that's super sad. And they play that for comedy for 9 minutes.
Oh, man. And it's also, they work in weird Republican jokes to this. She's like, why not take my sight? Why not take my hearing? That way I wouldn't have to watch Chris Matthews. Huh? Good shot at Chris Matthews here. This movie will be peppered with quote unquote Republican humor. There'll be a shot at Obama later and just general like wank wank, like my truck don't run humor. And this is the first of those jokes where you were like, Christian movie. I get it. They're trying to be funny. Adorable.
Yeah. Yeah, so while VJax is going for it, like just fucking laying nuggets of comedy gold.
She's screaming that she lost her sense of smells, like Nicolas Cage losing his sense of yelling and screaming. It's so weird.
So, and while she's doing that, the doctor explains to the wife, the Josie, that he had an epiphany last night and he's going to sell all of his stuff and start a Christian horse riding camp for inner city rural kids.
Because if there's anything inner city rural kids need, it's the ability to ride a horse.
That'll pretty much solve the problems for those So, yeah, exactly. And during this conversation, he says, I got all this stuff sitting at the house. It's worth a fortune. My wife's jewelry alone's worth $500,000. And she gets the heisty eye at that point.
Plot established.
Absolutely. All right. So now we're going to cut back to Ted, who's back at that same bagel shop. And now he doesn't have enough money to buy his muffin.
Go to the supermarket. What the fuck? If you're poor, you're buying $7 coffee at Starbucks? Right? Go fuck yourself.
If my wife had HIV and we had $3 left, I would spend it on a peppermint mocha. Do you hear me? A peppermint mocha. I get you, Ted. I get you. It's the little things.
I hope it comes with real milk when that happens. You have to
How
deal with
dare
it.
you? Too
That would
soon.
be awesome.
Too
So
far.
yeah, so he can't buy his muffin, but wouldn't you know it, that fat kid from Pequod's shows up and buys him his muffin, and then everyone starts barking at him.
Yeah,
because
the entire town loved that dog, and they're gonna like lynch him right here in the coffee shop.
Yeah, yes, to the sound of them barking. And
Really weird.
I mean, I get what they're going for here. You know, oh, it's so funny. He's the pariah and everybody hates him and everything. It's just like, but is everyone also in a cult together that just meets at this coffee shop?
Because everyone is wearing a dog bone pin or hair beret. So again, like everyone is simultaneously mourning this dog 6 months after it has died.
And that's like 3.5 years ago in dog dying.
Yeah, right.
Fucking relax.
So, okay, so meanwhile, back at home, she gets there. He's grilling dinner, and that's another one of their great humor points. Because they don't have power anymore, he has to grill the Hungry Man dinners on the grill outside. Get it? Because they're poor.
Because this movie needed at least 12% more of this couple just hating the fuck out of each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Just hating and again, short term, I get that that's comedy, but this is a solid half of the movie is just like, I hate you. I fucking hate you.
Yeah, no, we go a good 30 minutes with that before they finally get to like, oh, because the marriage is, yeah, right. Oh, God, Jesus. Everything was too long in this movie.
This is where we learn about her minute of crying every morning, too.
Yeah,
I wanted them to bond over that. Just like, I cry for a minute. I do that, too.
I
We
cry
have
for the minute,
so
oh
much
my
in
God.
common. Let's have weepy sex together every morning for a minute.
Let's do it at the same time. No, it's fine. Okay. You
go
it,
at 7:30?
Let's alternate. It'll be fun. So they're sitting there enjoying their Hungry Man dinner, and she says, like, I have a plan to make all our money problems go away. And I wanted him so badly to be like, finally, okay. So I think blowing should be 40 because like nobody just wants to blow gun. But then we do around the world for 100 because like, look, you get the money out of the ATM and you're paying for sex. It's not like you're on a fucking sorry, what did you have in mind?
What were you
rob
saying?
Someone. And she's like, no, I want to rob a dying man. And he's like,
Well, but he can't.
You go first from now on when we both have an idea. Just, you always go first.
So, yeah, but he can't take a fucking hint because she's like, my boss is going to die soon. Doesn't have anyone to leave his stuff to. And his wife had $500,000 of jewelry. And he's like, so I could get a job polishing it? For several minutes, she's like, no, because what if something should happen to his jewelry? Oh, what, like an earthquake? No, just, yeah.
What if someone were to steal it? We could catch them and get a reward. What the fuck is the matter with you? I don't know. I was really just good at killing dogs.
Should have been around in the 1700s. I feel like I could have made a much better living at it then. So, yeah, and then
Were they killing dogs back then?
a lot more
Was that
often
a
than
job
now.
when you were a kid?
It was a job in the 1800s. Dog torturer to death was a job back then. 1800s more than 1700s. So. Yeah.
How did that come about? You can't just throw that out there and be like, all right, let's finish reviewing this movie. Who was like, we need a guy for this. We need a designated. I'm tired
Jesus
of all
Christ.
the freelance dog
I'll tell you what.
torturers.
Look for an upcoming episode of Citation Needed to explain that one because it would be way too much of a diversion right now. But yeah, no, that was a job.
All right, just live your life knowing that used to be a job.
So yeah,
At some point, everyone gathered together in a lot of towns and was like, all right, we need a guy for this. This has got to be Dave, you're the best at it. Oh, I don't want to. I just do it as a hobby. I feel like if I do it for work, it'll take the magic away.
Now there's a job for explaining this process also.
Yeah, exactly.
150 years later. We created it.
Yeah, that's what I'd do. All right. So yeah, so she recommends robbing the boss. And he gets in on the deal eventually or whatever. And then all of a sudden there's a bizarre human there.
Moochie!
I need a minute on Moochie. Imagine the Hawaiian Punch logo got gout.
I had Kim Davis with a beard. He's very Kim Davis with a beard.
He's the craziest. I mean, I already used human Christmas tree, and that's pretty much as great as I'm ever going to do. He's the craziest looking human I've ever seen. And I want to say, he makes it worse. Like, look, if you're a big fatty fat, maybe not a head of shoulder length red hair, right? Maybe you get people haircut so that you don't look like the Muppet from Muppet Christmas Carol that played the Ghost of Christmas Present. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are
some people buzz it all the way down, and studies show that's attractive, actually. So, just saying.
Yeah, I mean, think of a color reverse Santa, right? The beard is red, but the face is white. But also, imagine if uneaten pizza crust in the couch had a spirit human. This would be its spirit human.
So, you know Kevin Smith at his biggest? Imagine if Dwight Schrute ate him. He talks like that, too. He does talk a lot like Dwight.
He looks like all 7 dwarves like touched fingers and said a magic word at the same time. Just like, Gasfruba. There's Moochie.
Like halfway between Rainn Wilson and Rebel Wilson. Like right in the middle. Right in the middle.
Oh, God. Yeah. Holy shit, this human. So all of a sudden he's on the couch and wants in on the caper.
Yep. And they don't want to let him, but he gives them his puppy eyes, and his puppy eyes are the most disturbing thing ever. Honestly, ladies, download an MP3 file of this guy giving puppy eyes and just hold it up if you're ever assaulted. You will kill a dick faster than a chemical castration. This, honestly, I could get a poster of this on my wall and never be robbed again. Wears it a t-shirt and walk through the fields of Detroit, just ending Crip and Blood dominance.
So, that's a stupid joke. There's no people in Detroit. You'd have people to have gangs of people.
Now he's on the eugenics board. We got him, everybody. God awful genetics starting next week. See, I told you, only 9 episodes left. 101 episode is God awful races. This week's episode, what race will we be breaking down today? We watched Chinese people. Well, if you love people who are always yelling, but you hate being able to tell people apart, you will love this race.
Thanks, Noah. You know what race I hate?
God, this really is going to be the last episode. I mean, not on purpose, but iTunes will see to that. Holy shit. There's another scene after this one, guys. Let's do this next scene. Holy shit.
I'm Carl the Pugga Pegacorn. Let's talk about IQ scores.
Time for more pizza delivery here.
Then the movie happens.
So now the old guy gets a pizza from the same pretty good pizza guy. And Jesus Christ, it's so hard to wind down now.
And he tries to evangelize to the pizza guy. And the pizza guy, luckily, reacts exactly the way all of us did when we had delivery jobs, which is just like, nah.
Yeah. It's not. I know. I get you're giving me a good tip here, but if I was really worried about the money, I wouldn't be doing this, would I? I just want a job where I can smoke weed.
He offers him, this is real, $100 to come in and watch a Billy Graham video. And the guy's just like,
nah. That's not.
So accepting bribes is a pathway to heaven. That's your theology. And he's like,
that's not very
good.
No.
Do you have a podcast? Yeah, a couple of years. Give me a minute.
Well, this is where I started to believe that the pizza guy was truly the hero of the story. Because, like, he's like, oh, this some twerp in a Jesus Save shirt already got to me. And he's like, oh, did he gets all my best customers? And he's like, yeah, he gave me this. And he pulls out a chick track. And I'm thinking to myself, God, where is this hellhole that I must, like, take my own life should I ever find myself en route to it, right? Where you can't get from your pizza place to your fucking delivery without being evangelized to twice. Are they in Valdosta, Georgia?
They're in Tennessee, right? Close?
No, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, exactly. So the pizza guy leaves, and then we got like the husband and wife and Moochie, who is her brother, I guess, showing up to do the heist.
I wanted the bike guy to start harassing the robber family right here. Hold things up
Excuse me. If you get executed tonight,
what would you do if you died tonight? Yeah. Yeah, they're dressed like robbers, and Moochie is dressed like Thug Life Batman.
He looks like the podcast Fat Man on Batman came to life. Again, Kevin Smith, he's all dressed up like Batman. He's huge. He's wearing these ridiculously big basketball shorts that are down to his... He looks like Eli wearing my shorts.
He does. Yeah, he does.
Which I have back now.
I will reclaim them.
Rightfully mine.
Or poison his girlfriend. One of those things.
You act like you know where those shorts are. You just seem so confident that you are in possession of them now. So at any rate, moving on.
It begins.
So they show up to get into this guy's house, and they have this like weird, like they're obviously trying to make Moochie into the goofball character. So they have this desperate effort to make this trip from their car to the front door funny.
Yeah, it's not though. Like again, this is the wacky comedy part that just really drags in this movie. He's like, I brought lockpicks, wacky. I brought nunchucks, wacky.
Yeah, and they get in, and his shoes are squeaky, and I'm like, oh wow, that's a new bit, the squeaky shoes joke.
But he can't take them off because his feet are stinky.
Oh, stinky foot jokes, even more original.
Humor when you can't talk about stuff that matters.
Right.
I wanted this to keep going until he's naked. Just like, dude, your shirt is making the violin plucking noise every time you...
I did not want that to happen at all.
I want that to happen. I'm very curious about Moochie's penis.
Pig is beautiful.
Also, I want to say, okay, so their plan here to rob this guy was, we'll wait until night where you'll be taking his sleeping pills, and then we'll break in. She works at the thing that he works at, and her husband has no job. Right? Like when she could verify that he was out of his home for hours at a time, seems like the time for the robbery. I am to robbery as Heath is to rape, apparently. I thought this through a little more than the movie did.
Oh, we should rob people if podcasting ever goes wrong. I'll be the Moochie, you can be the Noah, and Heath will be the other Moochie. We have two Moochies.
I feel like this is why they got rid of the analogies on the SATs. I don't really think not really valuable to anybody.
I took those.
So did I.
They let anybody take them.
Yeah. But it sucks now because they changed the maximum score, so my score sounds stupid now. It used to sound good, but now it doesn't sound good anymore. So they have a long bunch of fat guy has nunchucks jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he steals some toilet paper because this old guy has really good toilet paper.
Oh, triple ply Cottonelle, that is the best.
That is good stuff. Toilet paper. Yeah, exactly.
At this point, I just have written in my notes, Christian comedy is way worse than Christian rape apology.
Well, yeah, right, because they're doing this whole bit where like, oh, they made a little bit of a noise. Was that too loud? Nope, that wasn't too loud. Oh, they made another noise. So this culminates in this like, oh, he's standing over the piano. Oh, he's got the nunchucks, piano, nunchucks, piano. And then he falls down and knocks something over. It's just like, what were you setting up?
With himself in the vase. He knocks over a gong. It starts a bowling ball rolling. That wakes up a dubstep DJ who turns on system, all that. It's so good.
But yeah, they set up something and then it totally doesn't play out because he's got the nunchucks and the piano. It's like he walks over to this giant stack of glasses and then he's just like, just started all the wars. I'm sorry, I don't know why. I feel like it should have had to do with the glasses.
Woke him up. Damn. So, yeah, right. So the doctor wakes up. The security system kicks in. Now, he's got this... He's remembering a time he walked up to a stack of glasses and said that, and this is killing him.
He agreed with me.
Anyway, so the security system kicks in. Now, they will sort of explain this later, but apparently this guy has one of those security systems that locks you in with the burglars.
Yeah, also known as a kidnapping system.
That's the other
Not
thing.
exactly security.
No, yeah, exactly. Like I said, they do at least make an effort to go back and explain why this is later in the movie.
But not
Like
that
40
well.
minutes later. Yeah, now we just have a kidnapping house.
Yeah, right, exactly. And we see the old guy like watching on the cameras from upstairs, and he says to himself, hold on a second. This here's a salvation pinata, and I'm going to break one of you open.
That's such a weird thing to say, isn't it? Like,
Said the good guy in this movie?
is he going to lynch these people?
Someone hang you
fruit?
from a tree and
Fucking
hit you
weird.
with a stick until you love Jesus. Yeah. And look, there are plenty of scenes like this that make perfect fucking sense if this is a dark comedy, right? Like if this guy tries to kill them or like if the joke is that they've been kidnapped by this horrible old man and they're not sure what he's going to do. A lot of this movie suddenly makes sense. It's not that.
No, the vast amount of this movie is that it is a wise and generous decision to kidnap people and trap them in your home and force them to love Jesus and change religions. Yes. That is a positive message of this movie.
Yep, exactly. That is the positive, that is the affirmative message of this film. Yeah. So anyway, so now they're trying to find a way to sneak out. So they wander down into the basement where, wouldn't you know it, this guy has 60 trillion karate trophies.
And look, I can't promise you much, but there is no human less dangerous than a human with lots of karate trophies. There is nothing, unless the only thing that karate trophies do is give you the ability to throw a karate trophy at another person.
And they're generally pretty weak. They'd break apart pretty easy.
I was really hoping the doctor was going to do one of those like Karate Dad demo things. Like, all right, give me your wrist. Okay, see how I'm controlling your wrist now? I'm dominating you because you handed me your wrist.
All right, throw a punch. We'll throw a
Can't
punch.
do it.
First go,
No.
Hup, and then I'll go, hup, and then you go like
all
3
I'm
inches in
saying
front of my face.
Is my 11-year-old nephew just got his black belt. You know,
sounds
so
like a
that's
legitimate
not,
dojo there.
Yeah, exactly.
Really hard dojo.
It's one of those very impressive feats.
There are 3 real martial arts, and they all make you act real gay. So it's not one of those.
What?
It's 3 real martial
I'm
arts.
gonna need you to
butt
explain
fucking,
that.
there is no butt fucking martial art, Eli. You've been lied to.
Absolutely. You watch Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 12 seconds and tell me a dick doesn't occasionally go into a butt? You are a liar.
Okay, but not in a gay way. I think you're...
That's exactly. It's in a manly
Jesus,
way.
dude.
What the hell?
Also, by the way, in this scene, we get one more of those like Republican jokes. They're like, they're down there and he sees them on their security camera and he's got a PA system and he's yelling at him. He's like, stop robbing me. They're like, oh, we're not robbing you. We're just redistributing your wealth.
Gong.
Zing. Like, just put all your political stuff together and get it out of the way here. Like, taxation is theft. Christianity's good. Chris Matthews is stupid. Just like, Pinochet was great for Chile. Like, yeah. Get it all out.
Yeah. So the doctor comes down to where they are. And, he's like, all right, y'all, we're going to have a talk. Now take off these here masks of yours. And the fat guy, Moochie, sneaks up on him. Now, you'd think Moochie would take out the nunchucks here. He kind of doesn't. And instead just runs up on him. And of course, like, they keep focusing on the 8 million karate trophy. So you're like, oh, the old guy's going to kick his ass. But no, the old guy just kind of moves out of the way and pushes him. Sort of. Like the lamest. Like, imagine if the fucking Power Rangers fight was that they went and got the principal. That's
God.
the setup.
Would I love Power Rangers if all the villains were Moochie? Yes, I would. I don't think we need the Zord. He seems like heart disease is going to do it. You sure you don't want to put the... Yeah, I feel like involving a robot tiger in this would be unfair. Why don't we just jog to the top of a hill? That did it.
So he throws Moochie around.
And he goes, I'm just redistributing your health. Zing. I am John Galt. Like, go fuck yourself.
It doesn't even make sense.
We should redistribute health. Obvious. Jesus Christ.
It doesn't even make sense unless you're making sense with it, which is not what this movie intended to do. Yeah.
Jesus Christ would literally want us to redistribute health. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, he pretty much.
It's like the whole book.
That's, well,
The good
not
parts.
really. Yeah, right, exactly. The few good parts.
The whole book that you pretend exists.
It's the one you pretend.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
Everything you cherry pick agrees with me. Fuck you.
Right. So he orders him upstairs to go have some tea with him. This is where we get the second instance of this hilarious quirk that Moochie's character likes to take things out of things when he's nervous. Can't wait to see that again.
What a character.
Really wanted the doctor to be like, oh, me too. Snatch his eye out. See, I'm funny. If I was fat, that'd be even funnier, right? Right? Do something fat again. Fatty.
I just had a major flashback to high school.
A lot of stage directions like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, what outfit are you? I don't know. I kind of ran out of outfits, guys. It was just going to be my dick. So, y'all want to see my dick?
Whatever. He brings a change of clothes and some eating utensils. There's nothing funny about like sweating, emergency meals. These are real things.
Yeah. No, and I'm sure he's going for bearded Hormel loaf. So they're all sitting around having tea, and the old guy turns to him and he goes, if y'all died tonight, do you know where you'd go? And of course, like, the guys at the table consider this a death threat. Now, I would have reacted the same way, death threat or no, even if I knew it was evangelism.
Yeah. Which, again, they react normally, and he's like, no. I was just wanting to change your religion. And they're like, oh, you sure it can't be the murder thing? I
kind of would.
Or just flip that sentence from now on when you use it. Just say, would you go to heaven?
Can't Moochie just have a key hidden in him and you hand me a butcher knife, please? Please?
So, yeah, no, instead it's even worse. They decide to have Christmas together. So they go to his Christmas room.
Oh, terrifying.
Yeah, again, if this is a dark comedy about an insane person that like is going to kill them at the end of this makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's enormous nativity. You know what's a great reason for taxing rich people? Enormous nativity rooms in mansions.
Oh, my God. Yeah, boy, do they make a good argument for that in this movie. So he comes in and he's like, I think we should all listen to the story of Christmas. And Ted goes, I think we've all heard the story of Christmas. And he goes, well, why don't you tell it to us now? You can use my action figures.
I mean,
I'm the sane person in this movie. I have action figures for Joseph and Mary at the ready in July.
I'm the protagonist.
No, but I will say, like, the bit where they have him telling the story, again, actually made me laugh out loud. That was the second and last time I think that the movie managed that.
Yeah, he starts doing Rapunzel. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I wrote in my notes, I'm like, damn it, Eli, stop picking good movies. And then I wrote, oh, my God, this is how bad it is. This is good to me now. Right? Like, all the movies are going to be good now. I'm going to be going, like, I feel like you guys are not really giving Loving the Bad Man a chance, you know? There was some like, when you think about it, like, as far as cinematography go, Sticky is hard to pull off. And they managed that.
Yeah, on a scale from 1 to I cried at Fast and the Furious 8, this job has changed my life.
So at threat of going to jail, he reads the Christmas story out of the Bible instead. And then the old guy gives them all pictures of him and his wife.
And isn't that a weird threat? Like, I'm going to imprison you here for the next 4 days. Don't make me call the cops. Isn't that? Aren't you? Which of us has broken more laws now?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that this movie seems to be completely unaware of the fact that kidnapping people for Jesus is also illegal. More so even than unarmed burglary.
Yeah, this movie and my favorite porns are unaware of the order of importance of crimes. Well, you stole that shirt. Someone really got that joke, and a bunch of people are like, I don't understand. Eli says the weirdest stuff on their show. But the guy who gets the joke, you get it.
I get it, yeah.
It's not a girl. It's
and
a
now
guy.
And now it's time to have Easter, apparently. So they go to his Easter room.
Well, I feel like a Valentine's Day sex dungeon should be next if we're going from Christmas.
Really? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, tell the story of St. Valentine with these fuck dolls now.
They should have had to drop off in the bar for a St. Patty's Day room. Yeah, no, that would have made sense.
Whatever.
So
Now banish these real snakes I have in this other room.
You guys are unbelievable.
So I've been accused of that often.
Irish
recently.
people have it tough. Whatever. Need not apply. Do I need to remind you of how hard it was for us? We look different.
In the 1700s,
Classical
yeah.
liberal.
So
You were all a bunch of dog torturers just traveling to the United States, hoping to make a living in the 1700s.
1800s. I think it was the 1800s. So but on their way to the Easter room, there's a ring on the doorbell, and it's the police stopping in because he's rich and white.
Yeah, they're like, some people have said that we need a scene where I'm here. How's it going?
Yeah, the actual excuse is he's just like, I was driving by and I saw your lights were on, so I decided to check up on you. I figured, the people in the inner city part of town were going to be doing fine. But you with the lights at 11.
While he is talking to the cops, like Moochie and the wife hide down below, and he has to hide like in this weird fire pole circle thing that's above.
Yeah.
Who knows what this
I think it was
architecture
a bar.
is? But they have a face-making contest at each other. And look, I didn't laugh at a lot of this movie, but Moochie making faces made me weep with laughter.
Really funny.
I don't think this guy meant to be as funny as he was, but like if this actor wants to call me and be like, hey man, I'll make faces on Skype for $80 an hour, we have a customer. I'm just saying.
So as they're doing that, the old guy runs the cops off, and this apparently this makes Ted mad. Now, not because he's like, why didn't we tell the cops that we were being kidnapped and held against our will, but rather because he's like, what are you doing not turning us in for robbing you? Are you just messing with us? So this is the part where they order him into the closet, but it just so happens
He keeps escaping.
yeah, this is the closet with all of those tricky trap doors in it.
I wanted
Like
the
rich
black
people
lady
have.
from War Room to come out one time when he escapes, just like, oh, sorry, wrong movie. Ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba.
He also has a secret stash of like random food and drinks in this secret closet, just so he can like casually walk out in a funny way, like chewing an apple all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and then got a
Judge
glass
him
of
for
milk.
that, Heath. You should judge him for that.
Whatever.
So they keep
Sometimes you have
far
an
is the
entire
sandwich?
cake, or sizzling fajitas, or a horn of plenty just sitting somewhere. And
So they keep locking him in the closet, but he keeps getting out, and once that scene is over, we can cut to the next morning where like apparently they've spent the night now and they wake up to Billy Graham videos. And I started thinking to myself at this point, oh my God, in that opening scene where the dog died, actually he got into a wreck and died, and this has been hell the whole time.
Oh.
But that's not where we're going. I'm just going to tell you in advance.
Nope.
So early in the morning, the doctor wakes up the wife, the Josie, and he says, hey, put this on. This is my wife's old jacket. She's like, why? He's like, because I like you to look like dead people.
just wear it.
Yeah, I said, oh, he's going to make her put on. He goes, we're going to go out to the barn. And I'm like, okay, he's going to make her put on his dead wife's clothes so he can make her fuck a horse. Finally, this movie makes sense. Here we go.
Okay, so like if you read this whole scene as him trying to get her to fuck the horse,
And wear a skin mask. What?
this
Dick cream.
this
I said
scene
dick cream.
makes complete fucking sense. So now we learned earlier in the movie that she had a bad experience on a horse and doesn't like horses, and he basically calls her out for being a horse racist and wants her to like get back on that horse and try again.
But again, if you look at this as him hinting very broadly that he wants her to fuck the horse, the scene's a lot more fun. He's like, oh, Iris, whose clothes you're wearing, loved horses. You get it? She loved horses.
Even physically.
And
Physically
they loved her.
loved.
And she's like, fine, I'll try riding it. And he's like, yeah, that too. That's fine. Go for a little ride around the field. Fucking goddamn it.
And again, like if he was about to sew her to this horse, this would be a great scene. This would make perfect fucking sense. It plays like that.
Were there a lot of people in the 1800s who would sew people to horses?
No, I'm not aware of that.
You gotta
as
wait
a
for the
profession.
episode.
So yeah, and of course this is where he has to have that whole like, I realized I've wasted my whole life saving lives with my doctoring when I should have just been evangelizing Jesus.
I did very much identify with the everyone loves your wife and just tolerates you conversation, though.
Yeah.
That hit home.
Yeah, no, I've had that experience.
Most
yeah.
people didn't even notice I was there, and they were like, "You work in radio, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, kinda. It's like radio. Can I buy it? I mean, we do it's like Kickstarter, but they get stuff for it. Don't people get stuff? I don't want to talk about it.
Did you just lick my neck?
So once the movie is done explaining that doctors are a waste of time compared to people with Jesus pamphlets, we now go back to, now we get their little horse riding scene where they bond.
Yeah, and this is where we get the rich have it hard talk that they have. And she's like, well, how hard can life be if you're rich? And he's like, describe your husband's dick for me.
For real. Because this movie definitely wants to make the argument of like, it's not always easy being rich. And I'm like, in comparison to being poor, like on aggregate, do we think that the rich and the poor are really living the same life?
Yeah, I mean, well, and the other thing too is that like it's a rich person turning to a more rich person going, I don't know, seems like money solves all the problems in the world. Yeah. So
I mean, it
She's
does.
like, yeah,
Don't get me
they
wrong.
do. Pretty much. My husband murdered a dog and has no money now, and he sucks. And it was better before.
yeah.
And that's true, by the way. That is true. I mean, if you think it's not, you just don't have enough money.
Try having money.
Yeah,
Better.
right.
Have
No, exactly.
more money. Think of the thing that you think money can't buy. It absolutely can buy that.
Yeah, no, that's just the thing people with money tell people without money so that they won't want their money quite as bad. Yeah. No, money definitely buys happiness. So, yeah,
Patreon.com / God,
you can
I'm not
buy
that
us some
happy.
happiness.
Yeah. Are you enjoying this episode? You pieces of shit.
Usually you wait until we're done recording to call you pieces of shit.
We bought
This is
some
a weird
liquid
show.
happiness. We bought some powdered happiness. We're having a good time.
I want to point out that I'm the only one here who's high today. Jesus. So anyway, and of course we have to have the moment where like the husband wakes up inside and sees that the wife, who they're kidnapped. She's just out riding horses and stuff. And then the doctor comes in and she's all excited and she's like, I rode a horse. I've always been afraid of horses. Now I can ride a horse. He's like, did you ride it to the police station to tell them we've been kidnapped? And we're supposed to be as an audience like, oh, come on.
And she's
Come
like,
on,
well,
Mitch.
no, I'm his dead wife. We were doing a thing. I had a mask. Would have been kind of dick.
Would have been rude to ruin his fantasy. He hasn't been that hard in years, Ted. You're being a real jerk about it.
Well, and the scene really plays that. Like she's like, I don't know. I kind of didn't feel like it would be so tingly to be kidnapped, but kind of hoping I get spanked.
Right. And he's like, well, look, I need you to manipulate him to let him go. And she's like, I would never manipulate him. And it's like, weren't you willing to rob him of his dead wife's jewels 7 seconds ago? Yeah, but manipulation is one thing.
That was
Jesus.
before he started holding us hostage. So it's different now. In my
And her response, by the way, is, well, maybe you could talk to Doc. He could give you some tips on being a real man.
And he goes, what is that supposed to mean? And I'm like, yeah, what is that supposed to mean?
That means fucking contest.
Fucking
Only way to
contest.
solve this.
Absolutely fucking contest. I just so wanted a flash cut to, oh, okay. That's why they say it's a man in a boat. He's at the front of the boat. I was just like, where the fuck? What does that even mean? It's a bad metaphor. All right. Now, clean this mango and I'll let you go.
Jesus.
Jaw is tired. Well, don't use your jaw then.
Move the whole body. Just move the
You
neck.
ain't chewing gum.
Yeah, a lot of ways this movie. I feel like the deleted scenes in this movie were amazing.
You got to punch her in the butthole.
And
Little jabs. Bam, bam, bam. I threw in some bad advice there at the end because I know we have some young listeners. And just want some teenager to just jab his girlfriend in the butthole.
you killed it by pointing that out now. But yeah, so you shouldn't have told them which of those pieces of advice were bad.
We could delete it. They don't need to know.
So, of course, now the key here, though, is that this is where, like, Ted has to have his I murdered Mr. Mitski and it was all my fault and I'm a loser moment where he has to, like, come to grips with how bad it's gotten.
And Doc's going to help fix the marriage. 4 words, crest of the labia.
It's like money. It can create happiness. Yeah.
Or do the jabbing thing. It's one of the two things. It's either what I said or the jabby thing.
You have
Get
a
a speed bag
50-50
to
chance
practice.
of being able to try the second one. So now that we can all rest knowing that Josie has overcome her fear of horses, I suppose the tension is relaxed enough for us to take a quick break. But first, let me give Act 3 the hard sell here. Will they return Moochie to the sea so they can swim with his family once more? Will the pizza delivery guy mow down the kid in the Jesus shirt in a fit of drunken rage? If you died today, do you know where you would go? Find out the answers to these questions and more when we return for the rest of the script conclusion of Heaven Bound.
Honesty Pizza, how can I take your order? It's fine.
Oh, okay. I'd like to order a large with pepperoni and olives and a medium plain pizza.
Okay, great. That's a medium amount of empty calories and a tremendous amount of empty calories. And will you be coming to pick that up? Or are you so divorced from your ancestors that you need someone to literally bring it to your home to prevent you from walking?
The second one?
Great. Okay. What about some sugar? Would you like to reward yourself for eating a meal like a baby or a crazy person?
Yeah, I guess that sounds good.
Fantastic. Would you like cinnamon or chocolate flavored sugar?
Chocolate, definitely.
Great.
Mm.
And would you like to add liquid sugar to that?
You have diet?
Mm-hmm. We do have fake liquid sugar. Would you like too much to drink in one sitting or nearly a gallon?
Again, the second one, I guess.
Excellent. Great. So your total will be low enough to trap the poor into relying on this, and it should be there in as long as it takes 3 stone teenagers to make it and a drug dealer to drive it there.
Okay. Hate Honesty Pizza. Really weird.
And we're back for more of this shit. We're going to start things off with Doc taking everybody downstairs to see his previously unthinkably large collection of Christian movies.
I just want to say, his collection of Christian movies is smaller than if we owned all the ones we've watched on this show. Let's just deal with that truth.
Probably we could compete. Yeah, I mean, but there was a time when I would have seen this and I'd be like, there can't possibly be that many Christian movies. But now I know what they were willing to call a movie, and there can.
And they make that big joke about, like, they all have the word grace in them. Like, how many movies have we done with the word grace in them? A bunch.
A bunch. Yeah.
Well, Grace Kebab, Grace Stew. We've done several.
Yeah, all holes filled with hard grace. I mean, but also he has his movies categorized by keyword. How is that possible? Like, because he's reading through them. If they don't all start with grace, I'm like, how is goodness grace us in grace instead of goodness? Come on, guys.
Autobiographical.
Oh. But then the movie throws us a fucking bone. Just when we're starting to think, yeah, I don't know what we're going to talk. Then he says, if you can't watch this movie with a dry eye, or if you can watch this movie with a dry eye, then you have no heart. And all of us wrote, oh, we have no heart. Because the movie in question is Fireproof.
Fireproof.
Amazing. Yeah, Fireproof's apparently the Brian song of Christian movies.
Apparently. That's what they aspire to be, is Fireproof. Jesus.
Yep. So they watch Fireproof and they're all crying at the end, like, but Kirk Cameron gave her that no fags chicken. I just can't. Fags do ruin chicken.
Oh, God.
It's just so beautiful. She is his property.
Oh my!
Chick-fil-A ad in that movie, by the way.
Yeah, and it translates to this one.
Yep.
So they all watch Fireproof together. They all get weepy over it. And then we get this bizarre Jesus fun montage where even this movie has to admit, no, this all looks pretty fucking boring, doesn't it? It's pretty awful.
Yep.
Board games about Jesus.
They play the Heaven Bound board game, which I Googled and is real.
Well, not what they're playing there. There is a board game called Heaven Bound, but it's like a biblical trivia game. So, like, the game they're playing there is not real, unfortunately. Otherwise, we would have been probably doing a god-awful board games episode.
I thought it was like a Chutes and Ladders thing, like a Calvinist board game, just like, motherfucker, I have no control over this. Oh.
Yeah, and so and like this whole montage, like it's them playing Christian board games and reading Christian books and talking scripture, and this is the point in which like the movie becomes self-aware,
Yeah.
and starts beating us to some of our own jokes.
Honestly, like any minute, I was expecting to hear like bingo, and I look over and Moochie's on my couch with a Christian movie bingo card. It's like, ha ha.
All right. Did you bring food? You're damn right I brought food. All right, Moochie. New cast member.
Let's chuck, bro.
Just gonna crawl out of the screen at the end and hit me in the face with jingly keys. Moochie.
So they sing some songs and color some Jesus coloring books together, and then they wrap up the montage by admitting that a board game based on salvation would be really, really stupid.
And then Ted gets the idea that since it's a Christian movie and being saved is just pretending, maybe they should pretend to be saved and then he'll let them go.
And I love how they have to like talk this out in the movie, right? Like that's an idea they have to have and describe to us.
Trust me, I already have my planned fake salvation for when Noah dies and me and Heath have to do our Christian podcast. It's not that hard. It is not that. Oh, yeah, you're all going to keep listening when the diatribe is me whining about Dave Rubin. No, I'm going to the other side, motherfuckers. Sorry, my financials. No, nice try. We all know who the glue is. No one wants to listen to a podcast with me.
Oh, I want to listen to a podcast with you.
Yeah, that's why there is one.
That's true. So yeah, so he goes to Moochie and he's like, okay, Moochie, you have to pretend to be saved so that because at this point they would trust Moochie with this part of the plan apparently. So he gives him a chick track and he goes, memorize this and come back and pretend to be saved now that you know what being saved is supposed to look like. And this is where I could no longer ignore the fact that Moochie is Heath, right? Because like he comes in and there's a sandwich there and it's a pretty good looking sandwich.
It looks amazing.
It
looks really good. It looked like a good sandwich.
And he gets excited about that sandwich in a way that I've only seen animals and Heath get excited about food.
Cartoons, animals, and Heath.
Yes, cartoon characters also. Yeah.
React the same way. You can wave it around and there's a steam of smoke that he just follows, floats along behind it.
So
that's how we're getting him to Seattle, just putting a sandwich on a plane.
So Moochie eats a pickle and pretends to choke and has to get Heimlicked, and then he pretends he was in hell for 9 seconds. Now, there's a way to make this brilliant comedy, right? Like, if they just followed along with the 9 seconds in hell chick track, and that was the story that they tried to enact from this point on, it's fucking hilarious. And it starts hilarious until he starts trying to make it funny.
Yeah. 9 seconds of eternal damnation is sounds like fun, actually. You just get to check it out and then leave.
It would be warm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm always cold.
And then again, we get the Republican joke slipped in here at the end. It's like Lady Gaga was the music and The View was always on. And it's like, dude, have you seen your TV and have you heard your music?
I mean, we're watching one of your movies now.
Don't take shots.
For fuck's sake.
Don't take shot at our music.
Right.
Don't pretend you assholes don't like our fucking music.
It's all we've got. So yeah, but he gets too crazy with his hell description, so the doctor figures him out and gets all mad because he thinks they're making fun of him.
Yeah, the doctor knows he's faking. He's like, you would have mentioned the guy with stained glass face. If you were really there, you would have seen him in 9 seconds.
How many
You were
zeros
trying
were
to
there?
pull a spear out of yourself or something when you woke up. I've seen this. I have all the Christian movies downstairs.
So she runs off to apologize to their kidnapper for not being nice enough in their plan to get free.
Yes. Yeah, so he gets all pissy with him, and he's like, y'all, I've been super nice about this here kidnapping. I've got you on security tapes I could have gave to the police at any time, but I didn't.
You guys are ingrateful hostages. This is ridiculous.
Right?
All I ask to imprison you for a nice long weekend. Got tapes of everything. Yeah, again, he doesn't understand that kidnapping 3 people is worse than like a single B&E, again, with no weapons.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. So he storms off, and then Ted goes, we need to find those security tapes or we'll never be free. And Moochie's like, can I eat my sandwich first? And everybody's like, no. Like, why?
What the fuck? Let him eat the sandwich.
He's hungry. He's a big guy.
It's already made. It's going to just, now it's so stupid.
You can eat a sandwich while you walk.
You don't
That's
just
the
make a
point
goddamn sandwich and leave it there
of a
for extra
sandwich.
time. It's going to get soggy if the pickle's next to it.
Yeah, right?
The bread.
Anyway, so Moochie doesn't get a sandwich. They head out to find the tapes, and this is when they come across the teddy bear room that this elderly gentleman also has.
Yep. Terrifying.
Well, there's lots of perfectly normal adults of legal consenting age who have rooms full of bears. It's fine.
I mean,
You don't know.
as a
You have
man
sex
whose
with any
house
of them?
is decorated in pug posters and statues, like, I don't think I ever get to judge anyone whose collection doesn't involve dead animals. So, yeah. I think it's weird.
So Moochie and Ted get into a bear fight, obviously.
Which looks fun as fuck. I would love
does.
to get in a bear fight.
No, it does.
It does.
Yeah.
I would not bear fight Noah. Noah would throw too hard. You could just tell. He's a hard thrower. He'd hit you and pretend he was hitting you with a bear, but it would just be with his hands.
Or he'd surprise you and show up in a furry costume, and you're just like, oh, okay.
No, I'd
get
hit
it.
you. So no, Eli's got me figured out. Yeah, but this is also where they figure out that the jewels they were there to rob were in the bear the whole time.
Oh.
So he steals some of the jewels. Not all of them, though. He doesn't want to steal his $500,000 worth of jewelry. He just wants to steal this necklace from Zales with the chocolate diamonds. It looks nice.
Yeah, these jewels could not look less worth $500,000. Like
No
costume jewelry, and there's like plastic skeletons hanging off them.
That tinsel? No.
No. It's not. It's diamonds, string diamonds. Yeah. So, and meanwhile, while they're doing this, Doc and Josie are looking over old photographs so that we can have this great little racist moment.
Yeah. Wow. He's
Why
like,
was this?
Why would you keep? He's like, I don't remember his name. Wambutu, Gambuku, something black and gross. And she's like, it says John. And he's like, yeah, well, you know.
They all look the same to me.
I have this
Barack Hussein
podcast.
something. I don't know if I can remember.
Should listen to this new podcast. Starts at episode 101. They really get into it.
Guarantee you there was a conversation with standards and practices. Like, you can't say they all look the same. That's
Can we
offensive.
imply it?
They all sound the same in name? Perfect. Perfect. They sound the same thing. That's cool.
Nailed it.
So, okay, so while they're doing that, upstairs, Ted threatens to kill Moochie, throws him against the wall, and this is when they find the secret room that leads to the other secret room that has the security cameras in it.
And I just want to point out, he's got a sweet painting of a horse in his surveillance room.
Oh, does he? I didn't.
Yeah, it's the best.
Notice.
It's like a velvet Elvis against the wall.
So now that they found the security room, of course, the first thing to do is to watch his home movies with it.
I was so
Was anyone
excited. I
else-
wanted sex tapes so bad.
I wanted sex tapes too. Just her riding him around in a full gimp suit. Just meh. He walks in. Well, this is awkward now.
I was hoping for Alzheimer porn. Because that's, I mean, like, just like re-explaining. Yeah, see, I've fucked you before. It looks like this. Here's how we do it. Don't get mad when we do it again.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for too. Yeah, and of course, Moochie, while Ted's watching the home movies, Moochie goes back for his fucking sandwich finally, but he gets distracted by lasagna in the fridge.
He has to get mayo. Fuck mayo. Whatever. Use butter, mustard, oil, and vinegar. I was on board with this movie until the mayo thing.
What the fuck is with people in mayo? Mayo's delicious.
It's flavorless. It's not
flavorless. It's salty and fatty. You
gross.
like butter, but not mayo. Oh, you're wrong.
Butter's
Miracle Whip is the devil.
Butter's
Miracle
so
Whip
much
is
better.
the worst.
Miracle Whip's also gross. Yes.
Miracle Whip is okay.
Oh, you're wrong. Now this is why you punched
Like in,
her in
like,
a
a
pillow
roast
fight
beef or
because your
something like
blood
that.
is made out of Miracle Whip. This is exclusively mayonnaise. We were giving mayonnaise and the poor kept spoiling it. So we were like, here the poor. Here's a mayonnaise that won't spoil. Keep it forever.
Oil and vinegar on a sandwich. That's all you need. You're
want
fine.
wet sandwich.
You need it more moist.
Wet sandwich.
Or don't put it butter or mustard. You don't need mayo.
Like, you
I'm not
can't
need for
put
that.
mustard
Anti-butter.
and mayo on a sandwich. What the hell is wrong with you people? I don't get this.
It's just
put mustard
diluting the
and mayo.
mustard at that point. It's all schwazzy.
So you're
Gross.
adding a fatty, salty texture to it.
Butter.
So now that we've got that out of the way,
Jesus.
let's get back to these.
I quit the show.
So, hopefully we'll have Alzheimer's by the end of this, and we can convince him he never said that. Okay, so yeah. Speaking of Alzheimer's, see, I twisted it all back into the movie. This was all part of the plan. It's in the script. Speaking of Alzheimer's, he's watching what are clearly like videos that this old man made for his Alzheimer's wife, and it's kind of touching because the guy that plays the old guy is actually a pretty decent actor.
Yeah.
He is.
It's this weird, very sudden change of tone in this movie where we just talk about like the real crippling tragedy of Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal.
And he's like talking about like, yeah, it was hard towards the end. And I wanted her so badly to be like, hey, you know what would have cured your wife's Alzheimer's? Science.
Not religion.
I'll tell you what, you find the part in the Bible where they're really, really working on the cure for Alzheimer's, and I'll show you 9 clinical trials in process right now being held up by people who think fetal tissue is magic.
Where would they get a silly idea like that? Yeah, exactly. But so the doc shows up while he's watching these, and he has this whole like conversation where like, oh, this is where I learned what was truly important. It wasn't all that work I did doctoring other people back to health. It was the time I spent with my wife and my Jesus. And this is where Ted has like, you know, his I have to learn to believe in myself moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this ends with the doctor saying like, I'd give anything to watch the last week of my wife dying again.
Yeah, I would like to.
That was weird. Like, oh, during the last week, she just screamed and begged for death, but I would trade it all to make her sad again. I feel like I don't understand what happened.
I want to
to
just
her.
pop in a DVD of that. Like, oh, there it is. Last week. You can watch it again.
no.
Who are you? Who are you? Oh, such good times.
And you just watch them watching the sex DVD of them. No, see, look. Remember we were fucking? No, that's us.
You're freaking out.
So Doc and Ted come downstairs, and Moochie has found some lasagna in the fridge that he's eating. This is Alzheimer's lasagna.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. This is all Mayo's fault. I hate Mayo so much.
So apparently when his wife was like really towards the end there, she kept making lasagna, not realizing that she'd already made lasagna, and Doc just kept it all in his freezer for years and years now, and Moochie ate it, and he's super upset about that.
Yeah.
I just wrote, like, man, that's a really nice kitchen.
I wrote,
It was
that's his
nice
wife's lasagna. He was going to fuck that.
Yeah. So Moochie storms off to apologize to Doc, leaving Josie and Ted in the kitchen together. And this is because he just had his, like, you know, what really matters moment with Doc upstairs. This is where he has to start going like, hey, you know, I really like your chicken parmesan.
Thing I said before made sense. See?
It all came around
comes
eventually.
together.
Yeah. And really, I mean, honestly, like if they'd fucked in the kitchen, this scene would have made sense.
Yep.
Anything
a lot
shy
of
of
my
them
notes-
fucking in the kitchen does not make sense here.
Yeah, a lot of my notes here are fuck.
Yeah. But they end up settling for a hug when they have their sort of make-up moment, when they realize what's truly important is the love they share for each other. And she goes to hug him, and she goes, "What is that in your pocket?" Like, what are they going for here? But no, it's the jewels that he stole.
Right. And she is livid about him stealing the jewels, which 4 hours ago it was her idea to steal. Again, just throwing out there. Like, look, I'm not saying the your wife changed her mind and she's mad at you now thing is unrealistic. I'm just saying, like, okay, you said you wanted Thai food. Here we are. I don't know why. It's fine.
I like your sister's chicken parm, whatever.
So, but now Doc overhears the two of them talking and realizes that even after all of this, Ted still stole the necklace. So he gives up on him and unlocks the door and apologizes for kidnapping him and says, has this whole like, I know I thought I was doing the right thing, but it occurs to me now that kidnapping you for Jesus is probably against the law.
This is the best way. Like, they start ruining stuff as I'm typing it here. I started writing like, I guess kidnapping is okay. And he's like, in the Bible, I learned that you shouldn't kidnap people. I was like, all right, fuck, all right. You shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to force these ideas on you. It's a personal choice. That was what I was going to say.
And he has this stupid guilt trip moment where he goes, I just wish you could know the joy I feel, the light in my heart, knowing I will see her again. And we're supposed to be like, oh, he loves his wife. But like, I just wish you could know how confident I am that I can fuck away your Lyme disease. Like, I wish you felt the joy that I felt at knowing that every morning I wake up and I come out, Zyklon B. The fuck is, it's a childish thing to hope, and it doesn't validate it because it's sweet.
Well, right. Again, this may be better than most of the Christian movies that we watch as far as Christian comedies. It's way better, but it doesn't change the fact that all you have to do to make everything in this obviously disgusting to the Christians is make the Christian guy Muslim. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, if you switch this movie around and it's a Muslim guy kidnapping all of these people and trying to force Muhammad down their throat, all of a sudden this is a Christian horror movie.
Yeah.
This house gets blown up by a drone if that's the case.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, there's that too. So he tells them to go but they don't even want to. They want to hang out and play more Hellbound with him now, but they go, but not for long.
Because just as they leave, this movie runs out of plot and decides to introduce an actual robber with a gun.
With a gun. Yeah. Yeah. So this grown man in a leather jacket
with his name on it.
Yeah.
Shows up because he overheard them talking earlier in the movie. And now here it was his caper. He was going to wait for them to steal the jewels, wait outside while they were in there stealing them, and then rob them when they got out. So he's been hanging out in front of that house now for 3 days, waiting for them to come out.
So don't open that garbage can. It is filled with shit. Look at me. Look at me. Filled with shit.
Ask him not to DNA test that.
And a dead raccoon who didn't listen to me.
So... yeah, and it turns out that the armed robber and Moochie are friends from high school. They even have their own patty cake that they do together.
Yeah, a patty cake which gives Moochie the gun temporarily, and then Moochie gives him his gun back, and they're like, Moochie!
Yeah.
You giving back armed robbers their gun.
Yeah. So, right.
Fat person thing to do.
So right then, Doc comes down, he attacks the guy, because, he's Karate Man, and the gun goes off, and Ted gets shot.
Yeah. And one of his dying phrases is, I'm sorry I voted for Obama. He's a Kenyan Muslim, and I know that now. It's like, what? Do you need to throw in one of your stupid little political things here?
Yeah, exactly. So he has this whole I'm sorry I didn't spend more time in church. I love you, my wife. I love my children. Tell my children I love them. And then he realizes that it was only a flesh wound. And he's not going to die.
Believe in stand your ground laws, nay, but yes, I see the irony. Oh, I'm fine.
So now this motley crew is going to have to take on the burglar together, because the burglar, they've got his gun, but he still escaped into elsewhere in the house.
Yeah, which, again, this movie has such a weird turn because it's like comedy, like, Robber, we went to high school together. And it's like, we must end him before he ends. It turns into fucking Panic Room. Just expected Jodie Foster to jump out with a coat hanger. Just, my eye.
I often expect that of movies. But we're also supposed to learn that at this moment, Ted like comes into his own and goes all person with a penis and takes charge or whatever. Now that the situation calls for it. So they go to the kitchen to get a knife so that they'll be armed as well. But they discover that the burglar has the knife now.
The one knife in the kitchen.
The one knife that they have. And so Ted goes and gets the nunchucks.
And I just want to say, if Moochie had turned out to be amazing at the nunchucks and saved everyone, I might have really loved this movie. Like at the end, he's just, but he doesn't. Spoilers.
But they set up this entire movie of like the nunchucks being a thing, and now he goes to get and the nunchucks will never play into this movie again. Like he goes to get them, but that's it.
You could call them Chekhov's nunchucks.
Well, no, because they never fire. But yeah,
Chekhov's
so
is a pun I made just now.
yeah, no, it is. Yeah, exactly. So Josie and Moochie go to the security room so that they can figure out where the burglar is and radio to the other guys, not call the police, but radio to the other guys where they are so they can go subdue the now armed with a knife robber.
Right, so they can play fucking manhunt in this house.
Yep, that's the only purpose. But she's radioing to them because, they've got radios in the house, you know how you do. And while they're like off looking for him, this is where Doc has to like point out, hey, Ted, you noticed when you were going to die, you didn't say nothing about your 401k or about your power. You were worried about your family. It's almost like there's a lesson in this that we can all learn.
Yeah, make America great again. I know.
I get it. I said
I was dying. That's what I said.
Thing. Yeah. So, but they lose radio contact, and now the burglar is coming towards them. Meanwhile, Moochie is being real funny with the gun, moving his hair out of his face with it, like you wouldn't because it's a gun.
That was funny.
The tone shifts in this movie are just like dum 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 dum. It's just I don't know how to feel fucking movie.
Wait. Was the time machine at the end of Back to the Future happening for a second?
Yeah, no, that was part of this movie. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
1.21 gigawatts.
So,
hey,
yeah.
Giga. We're saving it for episode 101.
Also, okay, so in this final bit of this movie, the gun changes hands like 11 times, right? Like they take the gun from the robber, and then Ted's got the gun. He gives it to the girl. She gives it to Moochie. Moochie gives it back to her. It's just like, just give one person the goddamn gun, folks.
They're all just pressing the disarm button in perfect dark, and it keeps switching and appearing in different hands.
So yeah, now she goes downstairs to save them with the gun, but the burglar kidnaps her at knife point while she's got a gun. And so he's winning now, I guess. Anyway, so the burglar takes them all upstairs to the security room to kill him, which is, of course, where Moochie is hiding. So he goes into the secret room that's in the secret room. But before the burglar can kill them, Ted has to have a whose life is shittier contest with the burglar.
Yeah. He has a whose life is shittier contest, and he almost wins, but then he killed Mr. Mitski, so.
Well, but like it's so clearly like because the way they're trying to play this up is he's like, he says to the burglar, he's like, you may think you need the money this bad, but you really don't. And the guy's like, I'm homeless and like live in my car and can't afford medicine or anything. And he's like, yeah, but I had to give up my jet skis. And the movie is not like that could be really fucking funny if the movie seemed cognizant of the fact that no, obviously this robber guy really does need the money. You didn't have to build that into the story.
Yep. You didn't need to build the neediness of the likable robber into the story.
No.
Before you attack him with knives.
Yeah, exactly. So just as he's like, deciding to go ahead and kill him, Moochie jumps out to save the day. Now, there are a lot of ways this could be done well. Right, like you said, if he'd come out and actually just been killer with the nunchucks and disarmed the guy and whatever, that would have been fucking hilarious. But even if, like, you know, his sandwich was about to get knocked on the floor and he dove for it and knocked the guy's feet out from under him, that would have been fine too. But no, he just comes out, bumps the guy with the shelf that was where the secret room was, dives for his sandwich for no fucking reason.
To catch it. It was going to fall, you said.
But it didn't have. But it's not. It wasn't involved in the subduing of the bad guy.
If you don't quite catch the sandwich on camera, they had to cut because he clearly didn't get it.
Well, he's not a fucking Vine star. He can't just go catching shit willy-nilly.
If you think Heath won't save a sandwich rather than you and Lucinda, you need a different living arrangement.
I never said I thought that.
Sitting next to you while you bleed out. So how does editing work? I feel like I should know.
So, but now the bad guy has the gun again, and he tries to shoot it at him, but it doesn't have any bullets in it because Moochie takes things out of things when he's nervous. Remember? It all came full circle. And the wife knocks the bad guy out with the little leaden baby Jesus, because apparently the old man has a baby Jesus that's like heavy enough to be lethal, despite being the size of a Cadbury egg.
And Moochie turns to the camera like it's the end of a sitcom and goes, Jesus saves.
I didn't say all the humor hit. I said occasionally the humor hit. Yeah. So, okay, so now we cut to the cops coming to arrest the real burglar who's going to get punished. And they have this weird moment where, like, it's supposed to be like the cop has the chance to turn him in but doesn't, or the doctor rather has a chance to turn him in but doesn't. But there's no reason for it. So the cop is just like, well, how'd all these folks get into your house?
Yep. What was the thought process from the cop? Like, hey, did these three people try to rob you first and then get saved, and then this other guy tried to rob you? Is that what? And he's like, no, they were just here.
Have you been watching
regular
the movie?
way?
Maybe.
Just regular.
Yeah.
The cop's been watching dailies.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So he invites him to come back sometime. Ted gives back the necklace he stole because Ted has integrity after all. And as they're leaving, Doc says, hey, Ted, I might have a job for you. And then he runs off to Jesus at the burglar guy before he can get thrown in the cop car.
Job creator. Lower taxes on rich people.
So now we cut to 1 year later. Their son is a bona fide lawyer now. Should have no trouble getting a job in the present market for lawyers. The country needs more lawyers.
That's right.
That's what we need. And Dad has a job running the horse camp that the guy was going to start from the beginning of the movie if you were paying attention.
And they have ponies. I love ponies. Ponies are the pugs of horses. They're just so obviously sick and badly bred. Just like, oh, God, what the fuck happened? What monster created us? Don't touch me. Oh. Every pony looks upset, and as well they should be, because they look at horses and they're like, oh Jesus, what the fuck happened to me?
Yeah, so I didn't realize we were gonna close on pony hate, but yeah.
I do not hate. I have a pug and I love ponies. Look, animals are ours to play with. Who gives a fuck? So yeah, I just enjoy when you see a pony and a pony's like the end of Alien Resurrection. You're like, kill me, and you're like, no, pony. I'm gonna put children that are still too heavy to be on your back.
And you will hate every second of it.
I have bad knees because I'm an unnatural abomination. You sure are, pony.
As opposed to horses.
Yeah.
Why did it have to be a Christian horse camp, by the way?
Right?
What does that have to, like, secular horse camps are bullshit. We're going to fix this. I mean, they make this Christian camp.
There are no Jews who ride horses, so we're safe.
Also, how could they miss having Victoria Jackson out there mucking out stables now that she doesn't have a sense of smell?
Ooh, good
How
ad.
did they miss that?
Good ad.
Also, really wanted Ted to, like, throw a horse into a freeway and get fired from the horse camp somehow.
The more things change.
Or for, like, Moochie to drop his nunchucks and shoot a horse when it hits the ground somehow. Something tragic should have happened at the end.
Yeah, no, it would have been better with a tragedy. And then we get a little cameo from the fat redheaded kid again. Mm-hmm. Comes in to, like, try to get him some pussy or something. And all of them are Christian. They even have this line where one guy turns, or the son turns to Moochie and goes, Moochie, you're a Christian now? And he's like, what? It's not like I became a vegetarian.
Triggering.
So, we can all hate them, can't we? No, look, I recognize this is just one movie, and it was still pretty damn bad, but I get to the end of it, and I feel like this could represent a trend. So just to make sure that we're all brushed up on Plan B, what kind of movies you guys want to do if Christian ones start getting good?
Fast and the Furious movies. That's 8 episodes.
Yeah,
already.
we couldn't go for very long on that one.
I thought the race thing was a good idea.
Yes.
Eli, I thought that was excellent.
See, you know what? After that joke came up, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should leave out that bit at the end. I should just go ahead and skip straight. Okay. And to close off things tonight, I simply ask you this. What is the least pleasant thing you could do with the actor that played Moochie that would still be more pleasant than watching this movie?
Okay, it's tricky because the movie was like kind of good and he seemed like a delightful person. So eat sandwiches he makes me while watching this movie.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. I got you.
Least pleasant thing I could do with the actor that played Moochie that would be more pleasant than watching this movie. A podcast reviewing Christian movies.
Yeah, the whole fucking thing backfired. The whole goddamn template of the show backfired. Well, I guess that's going to do it for our review of Heaven Bound, but that's not going to do it for the episode just yet because we still need to provide verbal confirmation we're still doing this. So, Eli, tell us, what's on deck?
The Prophecy.
With Christopher Walken.
Yeah, 5 movie series.
Is Walken in all of them?
No. He's in the first 2, I think. Something like that.
Maybe 2.
Fantastic.
Okay, so with the caveat that I haven't watched this movie since like college or whatever, I remembered it being pretty good in terms of just like cheesy action movie. So I feel like people are going to start thinking we're just getting lazy, right? We did a Schwarzenegger movie. We did a kind of funny comedy. Now we're doing a pretty good angel action movie. So like we need to make sure everybody understands that we're also going to do the direct-to-DVD sequels here. We're not just doing The Prophecy.
Yeah. And I mean, and let's be honest here, any Christopher Walken movie, you are enjoying it ironically. No one's ever like, oh, Christopher Walken, I'm so moved.
Pulp Fiction? Amazing.
It's not in that movie.
Deer Hunter?
He isn't. It's
not in that movie either.
Exactly.
Fun fact.
Pool Hall Junkies?
That's
phenomenal.
Robert De Niro in Deer Hunter. And that's with Jackie Gleason in Pool Hall Junkies. And Paul Newman. And it's not called Pool Hall Junkies. It's called something else. Sting. It's called The Sting.
Oh,
That's The Hustler.
There's a movie nerd right now who just slit his own throat in his car.
So with that to look forward to, we're going to bring episode 91 to a merciful close. Once again, a huge thanks to all the Patreon donors that help make the show go. If you'd like to count yourself among their ranks, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/godawful and thereby earn early access to every episode. You can also help us a ton by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes and by sharing the show on all your various social media platforms. And if you enjoyed this show, be sure to check out our sibling shows, The Scathing Atheist and The Skeptocrat, available on iTunes, Stitcher, and wherever else podcasts live. And tomorrow, be sure to check out our sister shows, Hot Friends, Cousin from Out of Town, Citation Needed, which is debuting on the 17th.
Download it. You have to download it. You can't just be like, oh, that sounds fun. You got to download it. Do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it.
Exactly.
Tell your mom. She'll download it. Everybody needs to download
your mom
it.
will like this one. I'm pretty sure your mom will like this one. If you have questions, comments, or cinematic suggestions, of course, you can email godawfulmovies@gmail.com. Legal services for this podcast are provided by the law offices of P. Andrew Torres. Our theme song was written and performed by Ryan Slotnick of Evil Drafts on Mars. All of the music was written and performed by our audio engineer, Morgan Clark, and all of that music was used with permission. Thanks again for giving us a chunk of your life this week. For Heath Enwright and Eli Bosnick, I'm Noah Lugeons. Promise to work hard to earn another chunk next week. Until then, we'll leave you with the Breakfast Club close.
The guy from the elevator is working on a reality show called 18 Puppies and Counting.
The evangelist guy realized he was better off sticking with Vine.
Moochie lost some of the weight, shaved his head, and started a podcast. And had sex with my friends.
The preceding podcast was a production of Puzzle and a Thunderstorm LLC, copyright 2017, all rights reserved.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips we provide our clients. One of the mistakes that guys often make in divorce is that they move out of the house simply because their wife told them to. And often this is a mistake because it means that their wife is in a position to be the sole parent of the kids. It means that the guy has surrendered possession of assets potentially. There are often records they leave behind. This is an important decision, and guys shouldn't make it simply because their wife has pointed toward the door.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives, which includes protecting men's financial means to do so. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's San Francisco area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 650-389-1111. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in San Francisco, San Mateo, and San Jose. Se habla español. Legal services available in English and Spanish. Kimberly Llewellyn, licensed in California.